Hello everybody, EXE here, and we are watching the finals of the ONO tourney, which is already started some hours ago. This is the World of Tanks game. We can see that Race is playing on the IS-7, and Harald is. Oh, excuse me, it's a different game. It's TA Escalation. Excuse me. Uh, So this is the round three. We can see that some actions are already going. Both players have started vehicles. This is the map slated Hearted. Red player is Race, and the yellow player is Herald, of course. Two legends. We are expecting a lot of stuff going on. I hope to see the T3 units, many actions, and some sneaky ways, of course, because it's EXE who likes to do sneaky tricks, fighting out of the corner, comp sniping. Wingfly also somewhere have been anywhere. I don't know where he is. That's why I'm taking over his channel once again.
EXE, what are you
I have
doing?
to say
What
it.
are you doing?
Fuck. What? I'm taking over our channel, of
Oh
course.
no, you're taking over our channel once again. It's a World of Tanks channel now,
Comrade
right? It's World of
Stalin.
Tanks. Oh, this is no longer a TA channel.
Yeah, World
Yeah,
of Tanks, of course. You can see Jeffys, Stumpys,
yeah.
Javelins.
Is the IS-2 your favorite? The yeah, the Stalin heavy tank, right? Is that your favorite?
Okay. My favorite tank is, I guess, maybe
Oh, the
Mouse.
Mouse. Okay,
If you
that's
know.
pretty cool. I really
Mouse,
like the
yeah.
ISU assault gun, the assault gun tank, and it's
I
so
guess,
cool.
yeah. I have it too.
It's so overpowered. Even in World War II, it was overpowered.
Oh,
It was way too strong. The Germans couldn't do anything.
why are we casting the TA when we
That's
can
true.
cast
We could
the
cast
World
World
of
of
Tanks
Tanks,
instead?
but guys, this is this game that EXE so rudely started casting without me is the finals game of the one night only tournament. I have already casted several games before this, leading up to this finals between Race and Harald. Of course, Race here in the red trunks, and Harald in the yellow trunks. Harald going core, and Race going arm. So, who do you think is going to win? I mean, does Race stand any chance? Is it possible that Race can dethrone the king? Anything can happen in a best of one, right? In a best of one game, anyone can win. That's true, right?
I'm asking who can win the total games
Just
or
it's
this
one
one.
game. It's just a one game. Who can win it?
Mm, hard to say. I bet Harold can
Yeah.
win.
But right now it's pretty even. So like, if just looking at the eco, both players are uh,
Pretty
pretty
even,
even.
yeah.
Of course, Harold with this sneaky weasel. That is exactly what weasels do. But he does have a
Is
defender here that should help him a little bit.
surprisingly, Race is going very fast second plant already. He's making second, yeah, and it's. I believe he is going to do some aggressive style against Harold and maybe overspam him. I know Race has came back to the TA not so far, but I believe he learned this trick from the tag rock because rock, of course, goes uh, for he tries to increase his units production pretty fast to keep pressure on
Mm-hmm.
your opponent, and I think Race has some practice has had some practice with rock on maybe even on this map,
Yeah.
um, and yeah, learned some
Well, we'll see if
stuff.
he can beat Harold. It would be amazing. Race. So Race played a game earlier that I casted. And guys, if you have not seen that game, if you have not seen Game 2 of the one night only tournament, I will link it in this video. Go watch it. That is one of the most epic games I've ever casted in my life. The only reason I casted it originally was because I was waiting for the game to end, so that because I was playing the winner, so I didn't really expect much of the game. It turned out to be unbelievable. It was one of the best games I've ever casted in its entire years of casting. So please go watch that. What a game between those two. I don't even know who Goodfella is. I think he's a Pro TA player probably, but I hope to see more of him. That was a pretty good match, and we'll have to see if Harald can. We'll have to see if Race can do as well against Harald, because certainly Harald is known as the reigning champion in the escalation community. So I would love to see Race put up a good fight and maybe even win. Like you said, he's had some practice against Rock. I think in their games, Rock would usually win, but they're pretty evenly matched. Did you watch any of the Race versus Rock games?
Not yet. I started to watch your game on Convicted map, if you remember. 50 minutes, which one?
Yeah, that's one I casted. Yeah,
this one, yeah.
So in the game against me that I just played, because I had to play against Race, he went a quick bomber, and it really wrecked me. But hold that thought. This construction vehicle is in a bit of trouble. Can Race save it? Race will save it.
Hold that thought, yeah. Hold that beer.
Yeah, it's a close game so far. Like right now, I would say neither player super far ahead, but Harald, I think, does have an advantage.
Yeah, look at his forces incoming to the Race's base. I'm afraid that the bottom side is in danger for Race.
No, I agree. This construction vehicle's already hurt, and let's see, Harald could kill that. He can also push through the middle. This is what Harald is so good at doing, is applying this constant pressure on his opponent, keeping them from being able to expand and play their game. And of course, Race being one of our best macro players, he wants to be able to take over the map, but he will take out a construction vehicle. Very nicely done by Race. So the game is nowhere near over. This construction vehicle will live as Harald will decide to attack under it. And Race doing a good job. I think he's holding his own here. He's got some nice defenses. He's going to have to deal with these three instigators moving through the south. I'm sure he's aware of these now. If he's got a radar anywhere, I don't see. Oh, he's got a radar up here, so he should see this and hopefully intercept it. But okay, so Race is in a decent position, guys. Like I said in my previous cast about Race, his style is macro gameplay. He even said to me in his game, in our game, that he's not that efficient with his unit choices. So Race wants to win a war of attrition. He wants to be able to beat you in an economic victory and destroy you through the strength of his army. So as long as Race can keep on even footing with Harald, I think he can be an even better macro player. Of course, Harald is extremely well-rounded. That's what makes him such a good player. He's good at kind of everything. He's good early game. He's got a lot of good harassment. He's got good micro, and he's got good macro. But I think Race could probably beat him in a late game macro fight. We'll have to see. I would love for this game to go to late game. Typically, it would end early. Harald is pretty good at ending the game quickly. But if Race can survive, we could have...
Perhaps he can. Because Harald also has not practiced much. Well, he was playing team games, basically. But I don't remember if he played some 1v1s recently.
I don't think he has. No, I don't think Harald's been playing 1v1s. He's been playing the big 4v4 and 5v5 team games, and Those are fun, but they're not exactly practice for a 1v1. So at this point, this is sort of shaking up, or it's sort of shaping up to be a very nice long battle.
Is it possible? Is it possible to check how much construction units
Sure.
each player has at
Let's
the
check
moment?
that.
Like if you switch to
Oh,
their
right.
own view.
Like this.
Yeah. Control
Where
Z.
does it say?
And mega map.
Oh,
Try
right.
go mega map. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I guess 6. Or maybe
Yeah,
7.
So 7 for Harold.
Oh, Harald and Race, I believe he has
2,
much
3,
more.
4. Oh, you're right. Race. Oh, it looks like Race has 8. Yeah, so it's close.
Yeah. Yeah, it's close.
But yeah, that's interesting. So both players on a similar number of cons at the 13-minute mark. And guys, I forgot to mention, this is a live match. This is happening basically in real time. We are watching these events unfold as they happen. So we bring you live coverage of the war. We put ourselves in harm's way for your viewing pleasure. And all we ask is that you enjoy the content as the game unfolds between these two very epic players. But I like what Harold's doing here. Good use of levelers, using them as a shield, keeping them as a kind of a block or a wall between his base and Race's invading armies. But right now, economically, very similar. Race, however, is not using his metal as efficiently as he could. So that scares me a little bit. In order to keep up with Harold, Race is going to need every single penny. He's going to need every... all...
Race should have started the geo.
Yeah. Well, he has started one here.
Okay. Okay, good.
But I almost... Yeah, I would like to see Race solve his energy crisis because he could even go to T2 fairly soon with his all this metal that he is floating right now. A couple levelers have gotten into his base, but haven't inflicted too devastating of damage. But here in the north, it looks like Harold gearing up for what could be a scary attack. It's quite a few levelers. And Race may have just enough to stop this. Some well-placed light laser towers, but he's going to lose a con. And Stumpies are decent against levelers. What do you think about Stumpies versus levelers?
You have to micro in such position, but not chasing. Very hard to say. In such position, it's, I think, better to keep your Stumpies around some point, because you can chase levelers successfully and send maybe Rokus to the front.
Yeah, these levelers are getting through, and Race is now building warriors, so Race deciding not to go to T2 yet. He is still upgrading his energy eco.
Same as Harald.
Harold
is on 4 plants, vehicle plants.
Let's check the plants here. So Race is on 2 vehicle plants and 1 K-bot lab.
And Kibot.
Seems like that's it for now, unless he's got one up here. Nope, that's it. And then Harold is on 2 vehicle plants, building a T2 vehicle plant, and now a 3rd one there. So they're about even in terms of their production power.
Harold has 1 more plant on the left
so
side.
He has you're right. So Harold on 4 plants to Race's 3. However, Race has a K-bot lab, and that will make a difference. He's building Rockos, and...
But he must start tier 2 right now, or maybe go air.
So here's the...
That's what I was afraid. if race goes late tier 2, it might be very critical. I'm actually surprised that Harald started with tier 2 advanced
Yeah.
vehicle plans instead of keyboards, because as you mentioned in your other um, casts, Pyrus will be very superior in such
Yeah.
point of the game.
No, that's true. K-bots can be very core K-bots especially can be very effective, but ARM as well. Mavericks at a certain time of the game are incredibly effective. So that could have an impact, but the issue is Race is not upgrading to T2 yet, and that's a little bit scary because we are now near the 18-minute mark, and Harald should be getting to T2 at any moment. So the problem is Race is falling behind a little bit. His base is getting raided by these levelers. We got some more coming through that entrance as well. The Warriors will be a good defense, but again, it's a little scary. Harald is pulling ahead economically, and in terms of his tech, he's probably on T2 vehicles now. So yeah, almost there. So this will finish at this moment, and now Harald may start pulling ahead. Race needs to keep up with Harald and start getting to T2 as quickly as possible, because you don't want to let Harald start building Panthers and Bulldogs and whatever else. Also, Harald will start upgrading his mexes to Mohos, and that will also give him a huge economic advantage the longer that Race stays on T1. So yeah, right now Harald definitely ahead, pumping out Manticore immediately. So what do you think about I guess I said Panthers, but he's core, so what do you think about Manticore in this situation?
Not a bad option.
Yeah.
Well, at this point, it's a nice unit because he can keep pressure with these levelers and
Yeah.
manticores while making race busy, and so Herald can win time to expand to the corners and around the map, fortify his positions more, and snowball
Yeah, the nice thing about
his advantage.
the nice thing about the Manticore, especially on the early T2 phase, is they outrange most T1 units, and they're also good against air. So if you get enough Manticore, they can shred T1 armies from a pretty big distance. T1 just has trouble dealing with it. Even Rockos have trouble dealing with it. So the longer that Harald stays on T2 and pumps out Manticores, the more difficult this will be, as Harald also attacking from the north. But Race is floating metal. If you see the income graph at the bottom left, he is finally moving to T2. This is something that he must get done quickly. He does have the metal for it, so hopefully he can get there. Now, the only silver lining to all this is that Harald has not built a single T2 construction vehicle. He's just pumping out Manticore, so he will not be upgrading his economy just yet. But Race has to find a way to stop this nasty leveler push coming down through the top of his base, keeping him from being able to properly expand north. His construction vehicle is running for dear life. And yeah, these levelers are reaching a certain number that is difficult for Race to deal with the composition that he currently has. But this is a nice defensive line. Harald is going to struggle to make it through that position, but it looks like he may just go past it, finding that approach that he needs to really keep Race from being able to play the game the way he wants. Race immediately going for the advanced construction K-bot, but unfortunately his base is getting a bit decimated as His own attack here in the northwest is being stopped by all these Manticore. I don't think it's going to get too much accomplished. It has killed some mexes, but ultimately, with Harald being on T2 for so much longer, he will have the superior composition. So what does Race need to do at this point in the game in order to win?
I was about to say that I'm surprised that he is staying with flashes instead of javelins. If he tried to make stampies and javelins, it will be a nice combination for defending, and so he could crush levelers faster and do some counter attacks to the Herald's right top base with all stampies and javelins. So it could win Race some time to fortify his positions, and maybe it's better if he has done such things, he could reclaim his tier 1 labs and go straight for tier 2 and unit production. So when his counterattack would be destroyed, he could have some units to defend himself again and get some reclaims after that.
Yeah.
Right now, I see that he spends a lot of metal to make defense on the middle, but his sides are very vulnerable to the attacks.
Yeah, so here's the thing. Race did get to T2 a lot later than Harald, but he didn't take that much damage yet from Harald's advantage. However, a lot of it will depend on this attack, because most of Harald's T2, the Manticore, are part of this army here in the southwest corner of the map, and so depending on how much damage Harald can inflict in this push, the entire game could hinge on how well Race is able to defend this. Like I mentioned earlier, Manticores have a pretty good matchup against any T1 unit, and so I think Race is going to have difficulty stopping this. Now bringing Zeus's, and if he can get the Zeus's there in time, can perhaps salvage this situation, but it's already dealing a lot of economic damage. This, of course, a consequence of Race getting to T2 so much more quickly, or excuse me, Harald getting to T2 so much more quickly than Race. But these Zeus's can make a difference if used well. Problem is, if used well, and right now they're not really attacking together. Harald continuing to rampage through Race's base, but I think these Zeus's can clean this up. Problem is, this attack already dealt a lot of damage to Race. Like, economically, you can see 49 metal per second to 114, so Harald more than doubling Race's eco, and now pushing through the north as well with more levelers. And like you said, Race has had trouble dealing with the levelers. The best counter on T1, at least for vehicles, is the Javelin, not the Stumpy.
Or Javelin and
yeah,
Stumpy.
Javelin and Stumpy is a nice combination. But now some Zeus's coming as well for defense. Race attempting his own counterattack, but there's just not really enough. Just a couple Rockos and a Stumpy. So Harald definitely able to get a lot more done with his raids, and Race definitely on the back foot here. The game isn't over. I don't think we should count Race out, but it is certainly a difficult situation. However, something good is that Harald attacking right into his defenses. This is where Race has positioned the heaviest defenses, including this Guardian. And fortunately for him, Harald is not targeting the Guardian. So the Guardian will probably survive, and the longer this stays alive, the more veterancy it will get, and the more kills it will acquire. So I'm surprised Race didn't surround that with Dragon's Teeth. That's a huge investment on his part to build this Guardian, but seems like it's paying off. It's got 4 kills already. Certainly played a big part in stopping that attack. So, guys, I've mentioned before when EXE and Race have, or EXE and Rock have played on this map, it is common to build defenses in the middle because that is the quickest path to your opponent's base. And so a lot of times players will just mindlessly send their units down the middle. And what happens is if there's a lot of defense, their units just die for free. And it also just having control of the middle gives you better access to the rest of the map. So I think this is a situation where Race has made a good decision to try to hold the middle, but he's still definitely behind. Harald definitely has more of the map. But on the bright side, Race has stabilized. He is somewhat safe here. His base is not being completely crushed by all of Harald's attacks. But Harald now on 2 advanced vehicle plants. So he will continue to ramp up the pressure. 3 advanced vehicle plants. So Harald really increasing
in the rage.
He's on that Russian production T-34 battle plan. And yeah, this is impressive. That's a huge. So guys, Race only has the 1 advanced K-Bot lab. Harald is on 3.
I'm surprised Harald doesn't go air, at least tier 1.
Yeah, and the thing is, Zeus's are pretty good against Reapers. In equal numbers, Zeus's do a lot of damage.
Yeah, you got the kite with Reapers against Zeus's.
Yeah. The Reaper is more of a riot assault tank, so they're good against T1. They're good against light T2, but Zeus's are kind of a mainline infantry T2 assault unit, so you really need something stronger. Maybe Goliaths would be ideal against Zeus's, but Reaper's not the best counter.
Excuse me.
Yeah, Race here in the top, starting to push back, starting to counterattack a little bit, but Harald has built a decent defensive position in both of these places, so very nicely done by Harald. This will make it difficult for Race to enter the northeastern corner of the map and be able to take resources there and dismantle Harald's base. So yeah, right now, even though in terms of the map they're pretty even, Harald is doubling Race's resources. He's doubling his metal. He's got a ton of Moho extractors being put up. So yeah, Race has to find a way to equalize this game, whether that means upgrading his own economy quickly or dealing some damage to Harald. Now Harald is slowly reclaiming all these corpses. That will certainly help the war effort. But if you were in Race's position, EXE, what would you do from here? Would you go air? Would you try to get some bombing runs done? What would you do?
Hard to say. I will try to make somewhere the dragon teeth, the lines of it, so it will be harder for Harald to manage his units somewhere. Well, you know, the make lines of dragon teeth on your side at least, and try, which will force Harald to move his all units to the middle or waste time to break the walls of it on the side. So, but I don't think if I was against Harald, I would try go air because he would expect this.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Maybe I think that the only good maybe I would even try to make a tier 2 vehicle plant and make some annihilators, penetrators, and yeah, somehow abuse the ace mechanics.
Yeah, that's a really good point. If you're behind, you do have to try to find a way to equalize the playing field, even if it requires abusing the mechanics of the game. But Race is not doing bad. The game is not over. Harald is definitely ahead economically for now, and he has way more production power with those 3 advanced vehicle plants, and now working on T3
Oh my god.
as well. He just started this. So
Maybe I use tier 2 air for defense, but not for commander sniping.
yeah. Well, it doesn't seem like Harald really has that much air defense. There's very few missile towers.
Well, because he plays against
okay.
Race. I remember the game in I remember team games where Harald made a lot of defenders. I was like, man, why? And he just responded, because I have to do this against the EXE.
That's funny. Yeah, so that's a good point. It seems like Harald is kind of disrespecting Race by not building any air defense. He just assumes that Race will not go air, and so far he's been proven correct. Of course, Race doesn't have a huge amount of air defense either. He has more than Harald, but neither player has really used air at all this game, which is a bit surprising in a 1v1. Even in the game I played against Race, he went air early and crushed me. So I would like to see one or both of these players take advantage of combined arms attacks and go to the aerial, use their aerial advantage or their aerial micro, try to catch their opponents off guard. But speaking of catching someone off guard, Harald with a nice Reaper push, but this Sentinel could be a nice stopgap for this attack. The problem is Stumpies do not have a great matchup against Reapers. Reapers will shred the Stumpies alive without much trouble. So problem is Race once again under pressure and not really having the composition he needs.
He needs spiders, for sure.
Yeah, you just do the EXE strat and just build spiders, right?
Why not?
So yeah, once again, Race losing a good part of his base, crumbling to the pressure of the Reapers, and he will start sending units north to address this, but unfortunately, it's a bit piecemeal. He's going to have to use all the Fidos, but they're not really going in the right direction. I don't know if he doesn't have radar. Oh, he does have radar. So he needs to coalesce his forces, get everything into position, and not let this attack deal any more damage than it already has to his base. Now, Fidos can be good against Reapers, but you need a critical mass of Fidos. Right now, he only has a few. These Reapers certainly have veterancy, so this attack is proving to be a lot more troublesome, I think, than Race intended. It's not a huge number of Reapers, but Race just didn't really have what he needed up here to stop this, unfortunately. But here in the southwest, Race doing his own attack. Harald finally on air, but only building construction aircraft at the moment. Probably just reclaiming all the wrecks, giving his economy a nice boost. But I don't know if Harald has enough in this army to break through Race's defenses. And these Reapers continue to be a problem. 15 kills on that Reaper alone, 16 now. So that was an incredibly effective attack by Harald. He did all that with just a few Reapers, and now even more streaming in from the north. So Yeah, Race definitely in a difficult situation. Harald now with another advanced vehicle plant and surrounded by defense. So I think we're starting to see the effect of Harald's massive production advantage on the map as he slowly just crushes Race with all of this firepower. What do you think?
I agree. Hard to say. Why I'm repeating hard to say. Oh my god. I think Herald could make go lives much earlier.
Yeah.
Not sure even if he needed to go tier 3. He could make some go lives, make some diplomats, pillagers, and tier 2 air. And use both advantages on ground and on air to do more harassment on races base.
Yeah, and once again, attacking from the north, and Race has just struggled to stop this. He only now is on advanced vehicle plant, building the first bulldogs of the game. But is it too little too late? The problem is, bulldogs are decent against Reapers. It's a good matchup, but Harald is already in his base. He's already inflicting economic damage, and there's not enough bulldogs to stop this. Now a Goliath as well, streaming through several Goliaths. And I agree with you. I don't even think Harald necessarily needed to go to T3. He could just upgrade his factories, build the Mega Goliaths. Race, I think, finally deciding that it may be too much. Harald with a very clinical game. I mean, what did you think about that game?
Both players played good, but Race, well, it depended on the practice. Race had not enough time to, how to say, to raise up all his skills before the ONO tourney.
Yeah.
Did I say it correct?
Yeah,
Did you get
Race
it?
didn't get to really play his game. He wasn't able to create the advantage that he needed, or to stay on even footing with Harald so that he could begin winning a war of attrition, or using his patented macro style to pull ahead. There was a phase of the game where it was pretty even, but even then, Harald was he was more effective with his attacks, and he prevented Race from being able to expand as much as he wanted to. Now, I think Race, his biggest mistake that game was not going air. He went arrogant in the game against me and crushed me. Harald had almost no air defense that game. He's really expecting Race not to go air. And I think if Race had gone air, he could have equalized the playing field a lot more. It doesn't mean he would have won, but it could have been a lot closer. So I think Harald definitely showing that he did not expect Race to go air. And he was correct in that prediction, because Race could have done a lot of damage. But yeah, that was a pretty good game, guys. I hope you enjoyed the final. Go back and watch Game 2. I'll link it in the description between Race and Goodfella. That was a crazy game. But EXE, thank you for joining me for this co-cast.
Thank you too for inviting me.
Yeah, I'll let you have the final word.
Subscribe to this channel, put your likes on, and make some comments about this game.
All right.
And say your predictions. If I was on Race place, who would have won?
Yeah, if it was EXE versus Race, who would have won? That's an interesting question.
Or EXE versus Harald.
Or EXE versus Harald. Say your predictions in the chat. But yeah, thanks guys, and we'll catch you on the next cast.